Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. Today we are looking at ED and ING adjectives like annoyed and annoying. Okay, what's the difference between he is annoyed and he is annoying? Or I am bored and I am boring. What's the difference? So, let's get started. So first of all, these words are adjectives, okay? So I can take a simple sentence like, this is a film, and I can add the adjective, this is a boring film. Or I can describe how I feel, I am bored. So bored, boring, annoyed, annoying, interested, interesting, these are adjectives. Some verbs may end in ed or ing too. For example, they kicked the ball, or I went swimming. But these are verbs, and the other words that we're looking at today are all adjectives. So, first of all, okay, ed. An ed adjective describes how I feel. For example, I feel tired today. And an ing adjective describes why do I feel like that. Being a babysitter is so tiring. Why do I feel like that? Because it's tiring. How do I feel? I feel tired. Another example, how does he feel? He's so excited. Why does he feel like that? Because the film was exciting. So again, how do we feel? With an ed. Why do we feel like that? With an ing. So, for example, if 4 people see a film, they maybe would say, I watched the new film, it was really frightening. Another person maybe says, I thought it was shocking. Another person, I found the story confusing. And another person, it was very interesting. Now, this is how they describe the film. Now, if we talk about how they feel or how they felt, we can use an ed adjective. So the first person was frightened. The next person was shocked. The other person was confused. And the other person was interested. So how did they feel with an ed? And how do you describe the thing, or why do they feel like that? With an ing. So ed adjectives can only be used for people or sometimes for animals because they describe feelings and emotions, and people have emotions. We can describe emotions in animals too, but objects, things, places, they don't have emotions. So I can't use an ed. I can't use an ed adjective for a book. I can't say this book is bored, okay, because the book doesn't have a feeling. So I can say this book is boring, and I am bored. I'm a person. How do I feel? My emotion is bored. I'm bored. An ing adjective we can use with everything, because we can describe people, we can describe animals, we can describe objects, places, things, activities. So the book can be boring, the person is boring, or that movie was boring, or this city is so boring. So let's look at some similar sentences with ed adjectives and ing adjectives. So, number 1, the artist was inspired. He felt inspired. He was working really, really hard. He had a dream, he had an idea, and he was so excited. Or, the art in the gallery was inspiring. How do you describe the art? I describe the art as inspiring. The people, how did they feel? Well, they felt inspired by the inspiring art. Or we could have, he hasn't achieved much, he hasn't done much, and he feels frustrated. Why? Well, this project is so frustrating. It's so difficult. It's so challenging. How do we describe that thing? We describe it as frustrating or challenging. How does the boy, the guy, feel? He feels frustrated. Another example, he worked hard and he feels very disappointed. Why? What's the reason? He got disappointing exam results. He'd worked hard and he feels disappointed because he got disappointing exam results. Another one is we feel very worried because the news at the moment is really worrying. There are worrying things happening in the world, and those things make us feel worried. Another one, no one understands the lesson. Everyone is confused. How does everyone in the class feel? They all feel confused. Why? Because the way that teacher explains things is really confusing. The way that teacher talks is confusing. So everyone in the class feels confused. And one more. A man kept shouting on the phone in the library. I was trying to work. I'm really irritated. So how do I feel? I feel irritated. But why? Well, someone else might say, how irritating. That man sounds annoying. So the situation is annoying. The situation is irritating. And that man is irritating, or that man is annoying. And how do you feel? Well, I feel irritated, or I can say I feel annoyed, or angry, which is a little stronger. So, a note. Not all adjectives have an ed or ing ending, so it's only some adjectives. So, for example, if we look at this sentence, I feel so stressed. I had to answer 100 emails as well as attend 4 meetings today. What a stressful day at work. So I feel stressed, so that's an ed ending. But to describe a thing, or to say the reason, we use stressful. We don't say a stressing day, but a stressful day. What a stressful day. So some adjectives don't have an ed or an ing ending, so just something to remember. So I've got a little test for you. So I will read a sentence with a gap and you can fill the gap. I'll give you 2 options, 2 words, so you can choose which one, and I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay? So number 1 is, the book we have to read for our next lesson has so many new words. It's really, so we could say challenged or challenging. Which one? 5 seconds. Time's up. Challenging. Okay? We're describing the book. How is the book? It's challenging. How do I feel? I feel challenged. So here, challenging. Next one. The special effects in that film were very convinced or convincing. Now, this word, in this context, means realistic, believable. So, 5 seconds. Time's up. It is convincing. So we're describing these special effects. How are they? They're convincing. The people watching the film believed in them. Next. When her brother slipped on a banana, she wanted to be nice and not laugh, but she felt really amused or amusing. So 5 seconds. Time's up. Amused. So our key word here is felt. How did she feel? She felt amused. Next one. I thought the final scene of the film was horrible. I was really shocked or shocking. 5 seconds. Time's up. So that would be shocked. I was shocked. I felt shocked. The film was shocking and I felt shocked. Next one. The judges loved my performance. It was so encouraged or encouraging. Time's up. So this one is encouraging. The judges loved my performance, and the fact that they loved it was encouraging. I'm describing the fact they loved it. How did that make me feel? It made me feel encouraged, but the fact that they loved it was encouraging. And the last one, that dessert looks absolutely delicious. I'm very to have a slice. So is it tempted or tempting? Time's up. Tempted. I'm very tempted to have a slice. How do I feel? I feel tempted. How do I describe the cake or the dessert? It's tempting, and I feel tempted. So that's our quiz. Now I have a list here of the most common ed and ing adjectives that you will see, and another list here of more ed and ing adjectives which are a bit less common. So if there are some new words here, I would focus on these ones first and then on these ones. So I have a little test for you. I want you to take one ed adjective and one ing adjective from this list or this list, and then write 2 sentences in the comments below, one with the ed adjective, one with the ing adjective. And then I will try and get back to you and comment on your sentences. So it's a little practice for you. So we've come to the end of the video today. If you would like to see more videos like this for English grammar, for new phrases and vocabulary, and just generally English chats and getting better at English, then please subscribe below. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.